Hey everybody, it's Ian the Off Kilter Crafter. I hope you're having a great day today. Today is National Sing Out Day, so go out there and sing your heart out. Yeah. Today's card was inspired by an object that I wear frequently, but never really kind of thought about what it could do. So I'm going to explain here in just a minute what that means, but I'll tell you, if you look around sometimes, you'll get inspired from the objects around you. So let's go ahead and see how I put this card together. To get started today, I'm going to use a little inspiration from life around me. You know, sometimes inspiration like smacks you in the face and you just don't quite even realize it. This is a patch that I have on one of my heavy winter jackets, and this patch is the Sunset Climbing Urban Mountaineering. This is from when I had the chance to climb over the O2 Arena in London. And whenever I did that, they actually had patches that you could purchase in their gift shop. And since I took the Sunset Climb, I wanted to put this patch onto my jacket, saying that I had the opportunity to climb over the O2 Arena. And I'm going to put that picture in here so that way you can see what it looked like from the top with me and my friends. And it was a really great experience. I really enjoyed it a lot. Glad I did it. And maybe we'll get the chance to do that again in the future. For those of you who don't know what the O2 Arena is, by the way, it's a big concert and entertainment venue. So you, it's got a little bit of everything, and they have a way for you to climb over the top of it because it's a big dome shape, so you get to climb up and over it, which is really cool. So that's where we're taking inspiration from today, and I'm going to use some colors that closely match this. I didn't get all the colors exactly, but it's going to be pretty close. I'm going to use Abandoned Coral, Spiced Marmalade, Worn Lipstick, Mermaid Lagoon, and Wilted Violet for my colors today that pretty much match up with what you see here. Let's see, officially there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors. I only have 5 colors here, but I think it'll be fine for what we're doing. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil and just make a kind of center mark, so that way I always come back to that point, and that's where everything will pivot off of. So I'm going to take my purple tape and I'm just going to make a V shape using the purple tape. And I don't want it too big. I just remembered that I still have 5 colors to do, so I don't want it too big, but I do want a nice swath of coverage. So I'm going to put that just like so in this V shape, something like that. Now, of course, mine doesn't have to be perfect, and neither does yours, but we just want to kind of get it started. So the first color I'm going to do is Worn Lipstick. I end up using my I forgot what the name of these are. I end up reusing my sponges a lot of times. If it's a red, I'll use it for the reds. If it's a blue, I'll use it for the blues. I don't really focus too much on like what exactly that color is. Like I don't have one specifically for every single color. I just kind of eyeball it, and if it works, it works. Okay, I've got my first color down. All you have to do now is grab your tape and pull it off, and it gives you that nice hard line. Oops, and I forgot I should have done this one first, but that's okay. Anyways, so I'm gonna pull this off, and I'm just gonna refocus it into the next area that I want to highlight. And oh my gosh, this tape is just going crazy. All right, I'll come back once I get this figured out. Okay, I finally got that tape wrangled into place. I'm now going to move on to Spiced Marmalade. And if you'll notice, I put the tape right up against the edge of the first color, so that way they don't overlap. I could do it so that the way they overlapped, it would probably be a nice blend, but I don't feel like I really want to do that. It will pick up a little bit because there is some residual left over on the tape, and so it'll probably pick up a little bit of that as I'm starting to work with it, but it's not gonna like completely change the texture. For the edge here, I'm not even going to put on the second piece of tape because we don't need it. More than likely, a lot of this is going to get cut off, and I also don't want there to be a white area over in this section whenever it's all said and done with. So we won't put any tape over here. I may end up wasting a little bit of this because of that, but overall it should be just fine. Alright, so this is what I was able to create. I freaking love this combination. This works really well. So again, that's Abandoned Coral, Spice Marmalade, Worn Lipstick, Mermaid Lagoon, and Wilted Violet, all in the Distress Oxides. Really love how this came out a lot. Next, I'm going to go ahead and get this ready to be put through my die cutting machine. I forgot about the smaller width of my die cut machine. It's not the smaller width than any other, it's just I forgot that the opening isn't as wide as this piece of paper. So I made 2 lines on either side of it. That's about the size of my cutting plate. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my paper trimmer and just trim slightly smaller than those 2 lines and get it prepared to go through the die cutting machine. Next up, I have my largest rectangle, stitched rectangle from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm just going to position this basically where I feel it is going to be best placed for this card, and I think right about there should be even-ish or close enough to even. So I'm going to cut it right there using the Simon Says Stamp rectangle stitched rectangle die. Send it through my die cutting machine, my Cuttlebug. I've now set up my stamp in my Tonic Tim Holtz stamp platform. This is the greeting set from Concord and Night. It's called Everyday Greeting Stamp Set, which, I mean, that kind of makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and load it up here onto my Tim Holtz stamp platform. Oops, it didn't pick up the little one there for whatever reason. I have a little like starburst shape that I feel will match very nicely with the kind of starburst of the card pattern. I did hit this with my heat tool just to make sure everything was ready to go. I'm also going to use my anti-static tool just to make sure that everything is as ready for embossing powder as possible, because I don't want it to end up getting stuck onto the ink. Alright, so now I've used my embossing tool and gotten it ready, anti-static embossing tool. I'm going to use some Versamark ink to ink up the happy birthday sentiment. I am running out of birthday cards, so this is very handy that I'm doing this card today. It's kind of why I picked it in the first place, is I'm running low on them. So anyways, so I'm getting this all stamped down in the platform. Take a look and see how well. Oh, that did very well. Yeah, so I won't need to do another one of those, but I am going to move over to my Brutus Monroe. This is gilded embossing powder, and I'm just going to pour this over it and then heat set it. I love how that looks a lot, but I do want it to stand out just a hair more, so I am going to add another layer of embossing powder using the Versamark ink. Yes, you can add more than one layer of embossing powder onto a card. You just have to line it up exactly back where it was in the stamp platform, or you can use the heat on heat technique where you basically heat that powder up and immediately shove it back under a waterfall of the embossing powder again, and that gets it to another layer of embossing powder. That is exactly what I was looking for. It's nice and smooth now. Perfect. Okay, it's time to start a final assembly of this card and card base. This is Neenah Solar White 110 pound cardstock that makes up my card base as always. And I don't remember what paper this was. I believe this was just some like recollections paper, nothing too amazing. And it was around, it's somewhere between like 80 and 60. I think it ends up being 60 maybe, not 100% sure. But anyways, I'm gonna use some foam tape. Again, I don't know, you've heard me say this like 100 times on my channel now, but was not a fan of foam tape until recently, and I'm gonna blame Kathy Zilski for this one. I just feel like I've really started diving into the foam tape craze ever since I started watching her videos, and I don't know. It just happens, okay? It just happens. Alright, let's go ahead and stick down our foam tape. The foam tape is kind of causing my card to buckle, but once we get it placed on and adhere, I think it will flatten back out again. Let's see if I get this somewhat close to being on the card correctly. Yeah, that looks good. It's a little off-spaced, but for the most part, it's pretty close. Nobody's gonna be able to tell that much. So here's a final look at today's card. I love how it came out. You never know when inspiration will hit you, so make sure you're keeping your eyes open and observing the world. I think that's gonna do it for today's video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know that you like my video, and then hopefully YouTube will then share it across YouTube land. Also guys, don't forget, if you're not already, hit that button down below that says subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and get great updates every time I post a new video or go live by clicking that bell icon that sends you notifications to let you know, hey, I've gone live, or hey, I've posted a new video. Also guys, you can get social with me by checking out all my social media links down in the description below. Come on over to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those, and come get social. I hope everybody has a great day, and remember guys, normal's just a setting on the dryer. Bye!